because like I don't wanna be that perfect person no more. That's a mystique that comes along with, that bravado and just being a dope rapper, but I want to be more relatable, to my peer and to the audience.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga doing? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWorkBoxing. Today I'm going to talk about Jermall, the Hitman Charlo, and Jose Benavidez Jr. This fight is getting overshadowed. I think it's a very sneaky, very good fight, man. I think it's going to be a dog fight, and it's for several reasons. You know what I'm saying? I think that there may be a hinge of bad blood, but I think that right now this is a crossroads for these two boxers. You know what I'm saying? And I got to really thinking about this fight, and I said, man, why people aren't gravitating really towards this fight? Because in my opinion, it has, the recipe for it to be a classic for some reason. At first, when I first heard about it, I said, nah, but then I started thinking about circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Because I try to inject a little bit of reasoning into things at times, right? So I was really analyzing this fight, and I came to the conclusion that a lot of people aren't gravitating towards this fight because these two brothers have been through some things. And a lot of times, when we look at these boxers and you grow to learn and watch and study and be entertained by these guys, a lot of people look at them like they got these special superpowers because they can do so much inside the ring. But what these two brothers actually had, what I always like to infuse in my boxing talk, things in life. Jose Benavidez got shot in the leg. I often bring up that, from my opinion, watching and studying Bud, Jose Benavidez put up the best round I've ever seen against an opponent put up against Bud. I think it was around like the 6th round. Go back and do your homework. And I was thinking like, man, if this man had use of his other leg, man, the complexion of that whole fight could have changed. And you hear about the story, and not to go off into that, but he's been through some things. You know what I'm saying? He went on to actually, play in the movies alongside Bud, in that recent Creed movie, and he might have a career in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? At least he knows he can get his feet wet. He played a decent role in that movie, so he got options. But in his interview, he said that he wanted to make it real clear that all that's on the back burner. He still wants to prove himself in boxing. As of recent, he did have a guy with a bunch of, losses, like 18, 19 losses on his record and everything. He was able to get the stoppage and all that. But, so that was like a confidence booster for him. But I look at him like, it's like a lot of people don't really gravitate to him. A lot of people do through his brother. You know what I'm saying? His big little brother. They start gravitating towards him. But part of the bad blood is that Jermall, the Hitman Charlo, you know what I'm saying? He's undefeated. It's been June of 2021 was the last time, we actually seen him. Contrary to popular belief against Montiel, the expectations of him getting stopped and all that, were there, and he wasn't able to get the stoppage. People were talking about his performance. When you go back and you look at the numbers and you actually really watch how that fight was, it was like a 10-2, where Montiel had his flashes of brilliance. But I believe that, even though T.O., did get the upset loss to Kambosos, it wasn't his best night, but it wasn't a bad night, because when you look at it, he dominated Montiel. Montiel had some flashes of brilliance. And then what happened to this man? Something called life. Now you got to think, Canelo Alvarez had avoided this man. Andre, at the time, he was on the other side of the street, over there on his own, chasing the Canelo fight. One of them guys over there, Triple G. JermallCharlo was chasing the Triple G. Triple G did not want to have any parts of JermallCharlo, and he also waited on Murata for like, he held his belt, waited on Murata for 2 years, and waited back in line, much like Isaac Pitbull Cruz is doing Tank. Was waiting in that line to actually get his rematch with Canelo. So it wasn't really a lot. It wasn't really a lot of options. So any opponent at that time, you know, that they were putting in front of Jermall, the fans just wasn't pleased. And then life happened. You know, personal life matter happened. You know, going through something in the marriage and all that. Anybody in real life that ever been through a separation or a transition, all that, especially if it was from somebody from your high school. You know what I'm saying? This is where the voice of reason, because this is fact-based, real life, you know what I'm saying, content. The alternative to opinion and online life. So when those things kind of happen, especially from somebody in your childhood, you got children with them, you don't know what's going on, and he recently came out and said, look, they call my thing mental health because I got caught up in not being able to move forward and look past it. You know, and a lot of people are like, oh man, he need to give up the straps, he need to do this. And that's part of the nuances in all this right here, because we had a lot of people, you know, mainly the fan of one fighter when it came down to this WBC in the lightweight division, the one that's going to be happening in about 2 days. If that belt that's up for grabs, a lot of people were outraged. Like, oh man, how could they do this? And how could it's like, man, listen. His intentions were to go to another weight division and challenge another champion. This guy's intentions was to actually go and get the strap. You know what I'm saying? He used his option. He went to the WBC. He's fighting for the strap. Voila. You have a lot of people comparing the Charlo situation, because this is a non-title fight and it's happening at 163. I'll get back to my notion on the 163 here in a second. But the fact that you have the WBC ruling that Jermall can actually keep his belt and not have to defend it. You've seen a lot of fake outrage online about this, compared to the situation with at the lightweight division with that WBC strap that's being fought for on Thursday night. You have that being compared over here to the situation that just happened with the former undisputed champion in the welterweight division, Terrence Bud Crawford, being stripped of his strap at the IBF. And I know you're like, Mike, what does all this have to do with you? I'm gonna break it down. For one, Jermall had a history with this WBC. You gotta think that the WBC was the cause of when Canelo Alvarez got the franchise tag. You know what I'm saying? Other fighters went on to get it after that, but the precedence was set when Canelo Alvarez does it. That's why I say when you put Canelo Alvarez as the standard, we gotta hold people accountable when you're going by the Canelo standard, because it's the standard for him when he got that franchise belt and he left off. And that left Jermall, and that's how he got the strap. Loma did the same thing. When he got elevated, he left off. Devin got a strap. Those two fighters have never been perceived in the same manner at all. It's only when fans are getting critical and throwing shots and my fighter this and my fighter that, when people get to doing all that, that's the only time that you would actually hear the slight really used, you know, in all comparison. You know, when somebody's trying to over embellish on one side and this, people say, oh man, well, come on man, it wasn't, nobody fought for it. You know, that's what they say for either one of them. So Jermall kind of got a lot of that backlash, coupled with the fact that he's a twin. You know, and I hope in my heart of hearts, there's some young twins. Let's just say the G twins. There's some G twins, some young G twins that I think are some of the best boxers on earth. And I hope, and I send all of my energy, that when they come of age and they're actually going professional and they have to go through the rigors of boxing, I hope that the fans have a little bit more tactfulness in how they handle these twins, because Jermall also had to deal with that. We saw that show up maybe in the Canelo fight. You know, they're twins, they're always beside each other or whatever in the press conference, the pre-fight press conferences, in the build-up when it came down to Jermall and Canelo, a lot of the conversation was around why Jermall not there. It was a lot of things being answered by Jermall saying, look, man, I gotta separate myself because regardless, you know, because people were being real critical of Jermall and the things that they were seeing online, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Some people like that low-level energy where they gotta report all of the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You got a large fan base, you report the foolishness, and next thing you know, this boxer's reputation is headed down the gutter, and it takes somebody or something to actually happen to preserve that boxer. Guess who that was? That was the WBC. Yes, cited as as an injury, as mental health, because these boxers get hit in the head for a living. Probably more cases of CTE than the sport of the NFL, shall I say? They intervened and said, look, man, we're going to give you a shot. This is not going to be a defense. I'm pretty sure they're going to be real strict. People like, oh, well, Mike, well, what about how they did Bud Crawford and the... Listen, the IBF and the WBC are two different entities. It's almost like when you go down to Florida and they have that right to carry, you know what I'm saying? You come up to Maryland playing that, and you're going to take your tail right to jail. The minute somebody gets shot, whether they kill, you're going to jail, and then you got to check out. But all that open carry, right to carry, stand your ground, different strokes for different folks. And that's really what happened. We're talking about a couple different instances. We're talking about the IBF situation. We're talking about the two different WBC situations, in which Devin Haney can still stake a claim at that belt because they called him the champion in recess. But once Shakur or Edwin De Los Santos actually wins that belt, Devin would have a way to come back down and still be able to fight for it. But pretty much, it's not going to be sent anywhere. Totally different situations, and I want to applaud the WBC because just like when the Charlos got the key to Houston and everything, and nobody was really. Then when Jermall was making his run at Undisputed, nobody was really supporting him, saying, you know, because of comments and things that he was saying about other boxers, giving his opinion on boxing. So in a lot of cases, man, when we had a chance to actually support these twins, we always took the easy route and dipped out. And I'm just being honest, that's what we did. Here we have Jermall going through his thing. Some of it's been online. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be lying to you if I said I didn't see the things online. I just chose not to broadcast those things online because I tend to know that real life situations happen to people. And that's what you have in this fight between Jermall the Hitman and Jose Benavidez. So if I were to look at this fight and I say who would win, you know what I'm saying? I would say, okay, well, what are the advantages and disadvantages? Activity-wise, Jose Benavidez has it. You know what I'm saying? Like being outside of the ring and not fighting and not getting that real live time, you know what I'm saying? That plays a factor, man. We saw that with Earl Spence. We saw that with JermallCharlo. You know what I'm saying? Maybe his brother be on his side, but I give an act as far as activity, because he fought Danny Garcia, then he fought that other guy. Not gonna fake it like I know his name. He fought that other guy here recently, earlier this year. Jermall, 2.5 years. You know what I'm saying? As far as the height advantage, we talking about 2 inches. Well, an inch really. They say they both about, one is 5'10" and a half and one is 5'11". So we got an inch. No, 6'1". They say Jermall is 6'1". So we got 2 inches, roughly 2.5 inches in height. A 73 and a 71, so we got 2 inches in reach. And in age, we're talking about 33 and 31. I believe it's 33 and 31, so we're talking about a 2 year as far as the age. So you would give the age advantage, I guess, to Jose. You know, what do I think is gonna happen in this fight? I think it's gonna be a dog fight. You know, it's kind of hard to untrain your mind to not see what you see about certain people, and then you develop a certain opinion. So the other day when I seen Maul, you know what I'm saying, doing this thing and hitting the bag and, you know what I'm saying, just hitting it, it looked like he was a little bit slow. You know what I'm saying? Just to me. I'm just happy to see that the man was with Roy Jones. He got some tutelage there. I think he had he was getting techniques. He was getting some of that sensei-ism, that Mr. Miyagi-ism over there with Roy. You know what I'm saying? I see, from what all accounts I see, he's back with his lady. So it seems like he's in a happy place. He seems like he's trying to look forward. I think that the whole fighting at 163 is a stepping stone for him to go to 168. Because in my heart of hearts, I think he is going to get, Canelo next. I mean, it's right up Canelo's alley. I mean, he pulled Jermall up. He don't want to fight Bud. Everybody say he don't want to fight David Benavidez. So if David Benavidez win or if Demetrius Andrade win, we don't know if Canelo's going to pick them. Jermall coming off of that, especially if Jermall is able to get the knockout, you know what I'm saying, like I believe he is. At the end of the day, I believe Jermall going to get the knockout. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I believe. But we don't know if Canelo's going to fight Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? We don't know if David Morrell Jr., who's been fighting Canelo Alvarez mandatory since 2021, we don't know if he comes into the mix. We don't know if he's going to finally decide to dance with Bivol. We don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that Maul will be ripe for the taking with a Canelo fight. That was rumored heavy earlier. Like, it was heavy rumors that he was going to be that fight. That's what it was rumored. So I think it's set up for that. You know what I'm saying? I like the attitude of Jose Benavidez. I just think that the fight I saw with Danny was pretty much able to do whatever he wanted to do. We're talking about Jermall, the Hitman, Charlo at the end of the day. And I think that it's just going to be like, yeah, it's going to take some time to, you know, work out some kinks and do this and that. Yeah, ring rust will play a part. But I think this is Charlo's transition back into the water like a fish swimming in water. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a smaller man. And let's be honest, Errol Spence, a lot of people say Devin Haney, as far as, you know, that straight jab, straight down the pike, they say that they got probably one of the best jabs. And JermallCharlo, with his piston-like jab, have knocked people out when his jab is on point. You know what I'm saying? He had one of the best, if not the best jab, in my opinion, aside from Spence. In my opinion, you know what I'm saying? If we had to make a comparison. But I guess we would say on Devin's best night, on Spence's best night, and Jermall's best night, they'll be right up there with that stiff jab, except for JermallCharlo is a bigger, solid, more sturdy guy. So you talking about that jab coming straight down the pike. Now we take into consideration inactivity, and that's when you get a little bit of, like, you know, so a little bit of sloppiness, a little bit of wildness, but then you have that desperation. You know what I'm saying? And you're dealing with somebody that hasn't fought there. And my opinion is that, look, it's going to be a dog fight because of the bad blood and the potential that Maul might get a Benavidez after this. Maul might be trying to prove that he deserves a Canelo deal. So it's a lot on the line for him. And people haven't really been supporting him, so he really can't afford to lose. I think that desperation, what Ronnie Shields is saying, I think that's going to kick in. And Jose Benavidez wants to continue to be able to be a part of what his brother got going on, and he wants to prove that he's still a boxer. So he's going to come with it. If JermallCharlo isn't ready and he ain't right, Jose has the ability to be able to use the hands and get him out of there. He's saying that, hey, I don't have to suck down no more. Now I can be my natural way. I can be my natural self. Maybe more power. You know what I'm saying? Or could it be all talk? I just think that this fight is a dog fight. It's a sneaky good fight. You know what I'm saying? It's on the undercard of Benavidez and Andrade. You know what I'm saying? And I think that people are sleeping on it. But look, man, let's support these guys. Real life has happened to these guys. And instead of being a Felix Verdejo or a Aaron Hernandez or somebody like that, they still going at it. Let's dump all the politics about the belt and all that. This is a comeback fight for Maul, and this is a statement fight for Jose, and this is a crossroads fight. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments what you think, man. Who you got in this fight? Am I right? Am I wrong? You know what I'm saying? This is a voice of reason type channel, man, where we can actually rationalize and talk about things and not be the knives and the pitchforks out trying to hunt and, you know, berate and belittle everybody. This is that fresh water. But I love to know, man. Thanks for the growth, man. I really do appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate everybody who took time out and are hitting that subscribe button. Do it one more time for your boy. You know what I'm saying? If you want to support the channel, you got the Cash App in there in the description, and we also have Super Chat if you want. If not, hit the like button. Share it with a friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know somebody that might like boxing or whatever, and this is the alternative to opinion-based content, and it's just another perspective at the end of the day. You hear what everybody else say, come see what BodyWork say. More than likely, I'm gonna say whoever doing that body work is gonna get the win and seal the deal. But that's all I have for you, man. I appreciate everybody who take the time to comment on the channel, man. I love the growth and I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Here at BodyWorkBoxing, but we don't take things for face value. We do that body work. Welcome to BodyWork.